Hello and welcome to Manchester and the World Track Cycling Championships. I'm Phil Liggett along with Paul Sherwen. In 5 days of racing, 12 world champions will be crowned here in this magnificent velodrome. This title series brings together all of the Olympic champions. They triumphed in Atlanta just a month ago. And by tradition, the first gold medal decided is the men's 1,000 metres time trial, which is over 4 laps of the 250 metres track. The best time takes gold. The Olympic champion, Florian Rousseau, has decided not to ride. Having won the gold medal in Atlanta, he has now decided to concentrate instead on the sprint series here. But the defending world champion, Shane Kelly, and the world record holder, is out to make amends following his disastrous Olympic Games. You may recall on that occasion he pulled his foot out of his toe clip and was immediately disqualified. Let's now join Paul Sherwen, our commentator, as the German rider prepares to start.
15 seconds left for the German Jan van Eyden, world champion last year in the Olympic sprint in Colombia. Also a world champion at the junior level in the 1 kilometer time trial in 1994. Difficult start for him as he comes out. Time to beat 1:05.022, just set by the Greek Dimitrios Georgiadis. This man started off his career as a specialist in the 1 kilometer individual time trial, and he looks very fast indeed. It could well be that we will see a good time here. 19.213. It's the fastest first lap so far, and he looks to me to be going even faster. Fighting with his machine, he's right down in the tuck position at the front, but the whole of his body is getting as much energy as it can out into those pedals. 33.1, just outside the time set earlier by Kojima, and he comes up now to the bell lap. 48.14, and he could very well be looking at a new best time here. Van Eyden, a great sprinter. We'll see a lot more of him in the championships. Coming into the last bend of his 1 kilometer time trial, the time to beat 1:05.022, and he's done that very easily. New best time for Van Eyden, 1:04.541. Well, after a difficult few moments before for Gianluca Capitano, when in fact his bicycle wasn't released for the starting gate, he gets a second chance at the 1 kilometer individual time trial. This man was a world champion in 1989 at the sprint and an excellent track rider. Safely away out of the starting gate, looking for a time to beat of 1:04.5 of the German champion Jan van Eyden. And the crowd giving him an awful lot of encouragement, and he's gone down in the first corner. Well, I don't know how he did that. He seemed to lose control going into the corner there, and he's gone down, and that will put paid to his chances. The next man in the starting gate, another German, Søren Yves Lausberg, looking to knock the time of his teammate Jan van Eyden off the leaderboard. Out of the starting gate for him, and the time he's looking at is 1:04, but we can bring you the information that in fact Gianluca Capitano, after that crash, will be allowed a restart after the last rider in the event has finished. Well, the split times have been 19 seconds, and this will be the fastest split time so far, 19:09.2. May well be that we're looking at a new time here from Søren Lausberg of Germany. 32.8, that is the fastest halfway point so far, and he is putting himself into orbit, and the crowd, sensing that this man is doing a rout, are getting right behind him. Fourth in the Olympic Games in Atlanta just recently, and 8th last year, and he's coming up to the line now, digging very, very deep. The time to beat is 1:04, and he's looking for the line, pushing himself all the way, and there is a new best time, 1:02.795. That goes back to Germany. Søren Lausberg, 4th in the Olympic Games, top of the leaderboard at the moment.
The last man to go, the defending world champion, and his time of 1:0613 is the world record. He holds that. He's aiming now to beat the time of Lausberg of Germany, 1:02.795. He knows he's capable. Will he come out on the day? A clean start this time for Shane Kelly of Australia. Now it's all down to him to get quickly into his rhythm. He needs a better than 19-second opening lap. Tremendous cheer down the back straight here in Manchester. They all felt sorry for him in the United States in the Olympic Games. Comes round to the end of the first lap. Let's see what 18 with 8:82. He's on course.
Well, that's a magnificent start. The fastest first lap of the night so far. He really has come here with a vengeance. He wants to take this gold medal. He should have had an Olympic gold. He waited 4 years for it. Coming up to the end of the second lap, and still the fastest time, 32.691.
But it's close. It's only a tenth of a second quicker than the German who has sprung the big surprise here as we go into lap number 3. Looking for a time better than 47.176. He is now winding up very quickly. It's going to be close. 47.150. Shane Kelly is slowing down. The German here can't stand the suspense as he comes round into the last half lap. Shane Kelly of Australia. Is he going to drift just outside of 12.795? Has he come at 12.777? He is the world champion by 100th of a second. And can you believe it? Shane Kelly, it's all come good. He's concentrated at the board. He is not sure, but now it is dawning on him. He is the world champion for a second year. He has done it by the fraction of a second, and the memories of Atlanta are now well and truly behind him. He keeps his world kilometre title. Indeed, from the tears of Atlanta to the smiles of Manchester, Shane Kelly gets the gold. He finishes ahead of Søren Lausberg of Germany. Jan van Eyden got the bronze. Let's move on now to the Keirin race. This is an event which starts behind a small motorbike, and over the last 2.5 laps, the sprinters come out fighting. The big surprise has been the disqualification in the heats of the Olympic sprint champion Jens Fiedler of Germany for headbutting. There are 4 previous world champions in the final, including the defending champion Frédéric Magnier of France and the 1994 champion Martin Notstein from the United States, as we join the action on the final. Now Notstein, the big rider, back from injury, a silver medal in the sprint championship in the Olympic Games in Atlanta. He wanted the gold, and it was Fiedler, ironically, who beat him to that, and Fiedler now disqualified from this event. Notstein leading the way round, followed by Gary Niewand. Then comes Buran, the Czech Republic rider.
Sitting right at the back is Laurent Ganet, and just in front of him, Michael Hübner, the giant of a man, for the moment casting his eyes over affairs just to see who he feels is the best wheel to follow when it comes down to the final sprint. Notstein looking round just to see what the situation is, looking at the faces of the other riders and just waiting to feel the movements behind him, because these riders can sense just exactly when somebody's about to move.
And the pace picks up here. The motorbike should come off around the back straight this time around. Martin Notstein, I think he vies with Michael Hübner for the 2 biggest men in track racing at the moment. But Notstein has the position. When the motorcycle disappears, of course, so then he'll be left on the front as he is now. And he won't want to be there for too long unless he can open from the front. But throughout the heat, this is what he's enjoyed doing. He's been prepared to take these riders over the full distance. 2 laps to go this time around. Martin Notstein coming through and being challenged immediately by the defending world champion Magnier. Magnier now hit the front 2 and opens up. Magnier slows down as Ganet comes, the other French rider, over the top. France trying to challenge for gold and silver here. 1 lap to go now. It's going to be Magnier who leads out, and look at the bumping and boring as Notstein holds on to second place. Half a lap to go now. Martin Notstein wants that gold medal back. Magnier going again, but looks to be under gear a little bit. Spinning for the line now. Martin Notstein is going to get it for the United States. Martin Notstein takes it. I think Gary Niewand slipped in there to get the silver medal. So too does Niewand, as he congratulates Martin Notstein, who has made his return to the top of Keirin racing. He was the champion 2 years ago. Then a year of bad injury kept him away from taking a medal last year. He's back now, and the American camp is jubilant. Let's have a look how he did it. He likes to lead out, but Magnier put in his challenge through the defending world champion on the inside. Then Ganet was coming on the top. Notstein held that wheel well. Watch the third rider, because that's Gary Niewand working his way through. He was waiting for the door to open. He was expecting Notstein to go over the top here of Magnier, and so it proved as they came off the banking into the lineup. At this point, it looked as though Magnier was running out of steam. Notstein saw the finishing line, then put his head down and drove for that finishing line, being challenged by Gary Niewon. Tried to come over the wheel of Notstein. He didn't have the speed. So Marty gets the gold medal back after a break of 2 years. Niewon gets the silver, and Magnier relegated from first to third, this time out. And the result showing the 3 world champions in the Keirin having to share the medals. This time the new world champion Marty Notstein, Gary Niewon second, and third Frédéric Magnier. Over here in Manchester, the big figure of Reg Harris, perhaps the most famous sprinter the world has ever known, adorns the stadium. And now we move on to the 4,000 metres men's individual pursuit over 16 laps of the track. Olympic and world record holder Andrea Colinelli now searches for his first world title. His record stands at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. But the return of Chris Boardman, the 1994 champion, will cause him some consternation. As we join the action, Boardman is at the qualifying stages, and rumours are rife that he has been recording times of 4 minutes 15 seconds in training. If he can repeat that now in reality, he will smash the world record wide open. We are looking at a time of around 4 minutes 16, which has never ever been hinted at before in the world of pursuit riding. Boardman is going to blow the world record out of the stadium. If he keeps this schedule up through the last kilometre, a 4:16, a 4:17, Paul, and only a month ago in Atlanta we saw the first ever ride inside 4 minutes 20 by Colinelli. He's still to come.
Magnificent, but bear in mind Colinelli is a pure track rider. He's been training just for the track here, but Chris Boardman has ridden the Tour de France this year and the Olympic Games and the time trial. The man really flying around there. He got the bell last time. It's going to be a great ride, and I think we're on for a new world record.
As Boardman comes round towards the finish, he is going to set an astounding time. There is no doubt about that. Lehman has retired from the competition. Boardman's ride is unbelievable, but the clock has gone on counting.
Well, Phil, I think it was round about 4:13, but the clock didn't stop on the far side, and it is 4:13, so that is quite magnificent.
Well, one can't believe this. 4:13.353 is what the clock is saying. This is an incredible improvement. This is a 6-second beating of the world record, a world record that's been one of the toughest ever to beat. Can you believe that ride? Look at this, 4:13.353. The old world record by Andrea Colinelli was 4:19.699 done in Atlanta, and now Chris Boardman has come out and blown it out of the water. But Colinelli himself beat his old world record to qualify second best. The scene was already set for the final. Using the new Superman position, pursuiting times were being rewritten. A packed stadium was now ready to see the best final ever between Chris Boardman and Andrea Colinelli. This is going to be an incredible final. There's a tremendous cheer, as you might anticipate, on home ground for Chris Boardman, just an hour from his home on the Whittle Peninsula. Boardman starts slowly, but normally so too does Colinelli, and then they just go so quickly over the 4,000 metres.
Well, Boardman settling down here, still accelerating after he's covered one lap, and he will go down, as has been the norm in all of the rounds so far, a little bit slower than Andrea Colinelli, but this time only 0.5. Both of these men using a similar style position, the Superman position, which won this man, Andrea Colinelli of Italy, the gold medal at the Olympic Games, and Boardman goes back a little further to 1.1 second behind.
So Boardman has made the slow start. He loses normally on the second lap, and then as he goes into the second kilometre, if he's on his schedule, he goes quicker. But at the moment, he is still slowing down, 1.480, as Colinelli heads towards the end as leader in the opening kilometre. This is going to be a fascinating final. Colinelli has made the best start. I think they anticipated he would. But now let's see if Boardman is closing in. He is. No, he's not. He's gone slightly out again. At 1:7.390, the first kilometre to Colinelli. That is incredibly fast.
Well, these two men are 2 seconds inside the schedule of the world record of 4 minutes and 13, and Boardman going still further behind now, 1.6 seconds, and Colinelli looks absolutely marvellous. He's flat on his machine, there's no movement in the upper part of his body, and he's spinning that gear around, but on the other side of the track, Boardman looking good as well, still 1.6, it's now stabilised.
Well, I wonder, because Colinelli looks as though he's really settled in here. Bourman under pressure for the first time in these championships. The Olympic champion perhaps feeling a little bit proud of that gold medal. He is now holding Bourman. Bourman for the first time is showing an impression. He has knocked back 0.2 of a second in the last lap as he heads now towards the end of the second kilometre.
Well, Bourman will be using a much bigger gear than that of Andrea Colinelli. He has the strength of the Tour de France behind him, and he's on a good schedule, 1.2 seconds behind. He's now starting to eat into the advantage of this man, Andrea Colinelli of Italy.
This is the first time that Chris Bourman has been behind by the end of the second kilometre in a pursuit match here in Manchester this week. But now he's inside a second. Bourman's taking longer, and he should do against the Olympic champion. But he's winding up and he's closing in. Inside a second is the gap now.
It takes him a long time to get that big gear going, but he's riding against the man who before this championship was the fastest man in the world, 0.558. He's really nailing down the Italian now.
The Italian has gone out on an incredible world record speed. He's only just beginning to slow, while Bourman continues to roll. 0.071 by the next lap. We expect to see Bourman in the lead, heading to the end of the third kilometre.
Well, he's got his rhythm now as we see the face of Andrea Colinelli. This man is such a fantastic pursuit rider, but he's riding against the man who was best in the world, and Bourman has now done it, Phil. He has just edged out Colinelli.
And 3 minutes at 10.526. Chris Bourman is riding to a 4 minutes 11-second pursuit. That is unthinkable. But Bourman now riding to an incredible world record if he continues over the last kilometre as he takes on the other fastest man in the world, Andrea Colinelli. This is an amazing pursuit, the likes of which we may never see again.
Well, he went into this and he knew he had to do something special in the final of this event, and you know he had to go out and do another world record. This time he will not ease up as he did in the semi-finals. He needed the extra energy and he will use it to his best advantage.
So Chris Bourman now in the lead as the crowd enjoy the crowning of a world champion here. Colinelli going away from the leaderboard. He is now second behind, nearly 5 seconds behind, as Bourman races to the gold medal in the World Championship, a title he has held before. This is going to be an unbelievable time, a world record for 11.114. Chris Bourman has smashed his own world record out of sight, and in the last 2 days he has knocked more than 7 seconds off what we thought was the finest world record of Colinelli, which was 4:19. But now we're looking at figures of 4 minutes 11.114, a new world record. He's beaten the Olympic champion. He is the world champion. They're calling him Superman, and will anybody ever disagree with that? And the return of Superman had tarnished the gold medal from the Olympic Games of Andrea Colinelli. This had been very special to Chris Bourman.
Really, this one was a no-holds-barred, and I had an eye on Colinelli. I could see he didn't die till very, very late in the ride, so I was worried there. He literally lost all that time in the last kilometre. So I was a bit nervous, and I thought I was going to have to go full out. Once it accelerated, I just stayed on top of it.
And he certainly did that. The next event in the World Championships, the Olympic Sprint. The name something of a misnomer for what is in effect a three-man team pursuit, with each rider of the team setting the pace for one lap of the velodrome. In only its second year at the World Championship, it was an excellent competition, the final bringing together the defending world champions Germany against Australia. And this should be a tremendous Olympic sprint final here, as Germany go on the right and down a hill. Gets the ball rolling at the back. They've made a great start. The Germans are a little bit ragged here. They're rather anxious to get it going as Fielder rips away. But look at the conciseness of the three Germans here. And the signal from Charlie Wall saying, that's a great start, guys. You're well up. And Hill swings off now. And we've got in the other camp Hubner setting the pace. This is Gary Niewon here.
Well, Niewon there going in second place, and he will leave the last lap all the way up to Shane Kelly, and they're still going through with the best time at the moment. The far side, the Germans are trying to make a comeback, but I don't think they're going to do it against the Australians. Shane Kelly was the world champion yesterday in the 1 kilometre pursuit. The time to beat is on the clock, 44.8 so far. That's the fastest time we've had so far. The Australians will take the win in the Olympic sprints for men, and that will give them the gold medal that they have been looking for. Shane Kelly finished it off magnificently, but a great setup and a beautiful start out of the blocks by Darren Hill. Let's take a look at just exactly how they did it. A brilliant start coming out of the blocks there by Darren Hill. In second position, Gary Niewand, and last but not least, Shane Kelly. 2 times world kilometre champion, blew himself around that first lap. Every last little bit he swings off, leaving then the chance for the next man to come through. That's Gary Niewand. He's got a great start as well. He just swung over. These men from Australia have certainly practiced their techniques. They've really brought themselves up to the grade in this event. Last man on the team for Australia is Shane Kelly. He's a superb rider. He won the kilometre time trial yesterday. Hardly a movement in the upper part of his body as he powers up to the line to make the fastest time so far, 44.804. The Germans will take the silver medal.
And Australians, the world champions for the first time in the Olympic sprint. The gold medal going to Darren Hill on the left, Gary Niewand, and the second gold medal on the right there for Shane Kelly. And so it was on then to the women's pursuit. 12 laps making the 3,000 metres. Could they too set world records as the men had done in the 4,000 event? The world record holder and Olympic champion Antonella Berluti of Italy was now searching for her first ever world individual pursuit title. There were shocks from the start as Australian Lucy Tyler-Sharman, who wasn't named for the Olympic Games, opened with a world record time of 3 minutes 31.830. It didn't stand for long. Next up, Marion Clignet of France. Now the world record, the new mark, is 3 minutes 31.830. We are 1 lap to go, and she is going to be very, very close indeed. She looks to me as though she is actually on a 3:31 ride here. It'll go down to tenths on the line with half a lap to go. Look at her face, she knows it too. She swings out into the home straight to finish now. The world record is 3:31.830, 3:31.674. She has done it. She has shaved off a little bit more. This is amazing. The new world record holder is now Marion Clignet of France. She sets the new mark at 3:31.674. Then came Antonella Berluti. She came as the world record holder, and she was in fighting mood as she caught Britain's Yvonne McGregor. Antonella Berluti, we're looking for the time inside 3:31.674. She's done it! The world record for the 3rd time has fallen. The world record holder has reclaimed her right. And as Antonella Berluti ended the session with the best of 3 new world records, the books would show her as never having lost it. So on to the quarter-finals, and Marion Clignet, a former world champion, was now at it again. And now the crowd are sensing they might be watching a world record time as Clignet goes in at the bell with 1 full lap to go. She's still wandering a little bit on the corners on this position. And down the back straight, the face though is a picture of pain. Into the straight now, round the back banking, into the home straight. The target is 3:31.526, 3:30.974. The world record has gone again. That is unbelievable. Marion Clignet, 3:30.974, has updated the world record yet again. So Berluti had seen Clignet better her record for a second time. And now in her semi-final, the Italian faced the tough Aussie Lucy Tyler-Sharman. This undoubtedly the toughest of the 2 semi-final races. Now, it's going to be, they're going to run it very close because there's a tremendous reaction here from Tyler-Sharman. She is virtually trying to sprint over this last kilometre to try and knock out the Olympic champion at the bell.
Well, it's 0.692 on the line, and it could go down to what was done by either of these women over the final lap. Tyler-Sharman has been a sprinter in the past. She knows how to dig, and Berluti on the opposite side of the track is just using all the power she has. It's going to go right down to the line. We're waiting for the sound of the bell, and you know, I feel Tyler-Sharman may well have got it.
Absolutely amazing, but that was a 1-lap sprint for Lucy Tyler-Sharman. She has knocked out the Olympic champion, who cannot believe that she lost that pursuit. She's looking aghast at the board. She is seeing she is out at the semi-final stage. So Antonella Berluti, the Olympic champion, lost in the sprint and had to be content with the bronze medal after getting silver last year. The final was between Lucy Tyler-Sharman and Marion Clignet. The Frenchwoman soon had a commanding lead, and so she had made room to concentrate her efforts elsewhere. she is still riding on world record time here, Marion Clignet, and continuing the great riding by the French track team this year. 3:30.974 is the existing world record, and it looks now as though there's no doubt which way the gold medal is going. You can see how close the riders are together. She's now being indicating by her coach in the track centre to go for the world record. Marion Clignet is still on schedule for that 3:30 ride.
Well, that would be magnificent if she could put it inside the 3:30 barrier that she set yesterday. It would be quite magnificent. Her power is unbelievable. She sits rock steady on that machine using a very big gear, which is why she puts in those very slow starts. 1 lap to go. Can she make it?
Well, I would say she's on a 3:30. She might tickle just inside if she can sprint this lap closed. If she uses, in fact, Tyler Sherwen as the carrot and just goes after it as fast as she can still get this world record. Coming up to the line now, it's just gone. 3:31.023. She has missed it by about 0.2 of a second. Marion Clignet is the world champion. She will leave the track here as the gold medalist and the world record holder. And so the women have shone as brightly as the men. Marion Clignet of France setting a world record on her way to winning the gold medal. Lucy Tyler-Sherman was second and Berluti was third. Next up, the sprinters of the women, and France again had the defending world and Olympic champion Ballanger. We now move on to the women's sprint, a second match, the first the race for the bronze medal between Magali Four of France, who is 1 up against Tanya Dubnikov of Canada. So Tanya knows now that she must win this. You can see the rainbow colours on her right sleeve there. She's been a world champion at the sprint. She is the Commonwealth Games champion. And now she is 1 down against Magali Four of France. As we roll away, this time it is the turn of Dubnikov to lead off for the first lap.
I wouldn't be too surprised if halfway round this bout we see Magali Four coming to the front. Because especially on a 250-meter track like this, you do have the advantage of leading into the last corner. It's very short straight, and if you don't have the super acceleration, then you don't have any chance at all of coming by. Number 11 on the back of Magali Four, formerly a world junior champion, looking very, very attentively at the former world senior champion and Commonwealth Games champion Tanya Dubnikov. And there is the move. Magali Four moving to the front. She's 1-0 ahead at the moment, looking for a bronze medal. And you see, in fact, Dubnikov realizes that she too doesn't have. You must lead out this sprint. You've got the power and the speed to.
Well, a tremendous last effort there by Tanya Dubnikov. Final run here. Annette Newman is 1-0 down to the reigning world and Olympic champion Félicie Bonger of France. Bonger at the moment just seems as though she can't do a thing wrong. Annette Newman, who was 4th in the Olympic Games, she knows she has the silver medal, but she really would now like to give Bonger a real run for her money. She's going to have to do it from the most difficult position. It's her turn to lead away, so she must lead for the first lap, and she must win this to force a decider. So it's all advantage Bonger, who is riding with so much confidence. She will be very, very difficult to beat.
Nobody's come anywhere near her so far in the competition, but when you're looking at a gold medal just around the corner, that may well just be enough for Annette Newman, who has really excelled in this year's World Sprint Championships for the women. Now, though, she knows she must do something quite special as we go around the first lap of 3. Time taken over the last 200 meters. Ballanger not showing any worry at all in those eyes of her as she looks directly at the shadow of the German rider in front of her. They're right down at the bottom, going very slowly around this track. Look at the concentration there on the eyes of Félicie Ballanger, already Olympic champion this year. 2-time world champion last year. She won the 500 meters time trial for women and also the women's sprint. And I think we could well have a little bit of a balancing act here at the end of the first lap.
Not easy to do, and it does take an awful lot of strength from those legs if you try to do it. Newman desperately wants Ballanger where she can see her this time, because Ballanger has so much speed when she comes from the back. I don't think she's ever going to trick Ballanger to go into the lead. She's slowly drifting down the wall, and that's where it's going to be, as she then has to pick up momentum again. And so it continues to remain advantage Belanger. The French had the most successful ever Olympic Games with 5 gold medals. So far at these World Championships, they have won 4 bronze. And now hoping for their first gold from Belanger. This ride should sew it up, but if Annette Newman gets inspired and takes a sideboard back home in France. A second gold medal for France and a World Championship successful defence for Félicité Belanger of France. Annette Newman was second and Magali Faure, another French girl, took the bronze. Well, the track championships here so far have proved to be very exciting indeed, with the pursuiters setting world records and the sprinters keeping us entertained. The team pursued over 16 laps, bringing together 2 teams of 4. As we join the semi-final stage, Italy are on a world record time against the Russians, who were the Olympic silver medalists when they lost in the final to France.
Well, they're flying now. They're waiting to hear the bell that will tell them they're flying up to what is going to be a new incredible world record time for the team pursuit. There is the bell. 1 lap to go for the Italians.
And the way ahead of the Russians, they're the Russians, here are the Italians as they race in the last half lap. The record mark is 4 minutes 3.840, and it's going to be 4:00.977. It'll probably be ratified as 4:01 because the time on the third man. We have almost seen the first ever sub-4-minute pursuit, and that is absolutely unbelievable. The Italians have just hit the 4-minute barrier in world pursuing. Look at the crowd and look at these Italians. Remember the names: Anton Adler, Capelli, Cristiano Citon, Andrea Colinelli, Mauro Trentini. They are the new world record holders as they go on into the final of the 4,000 meters team pursuit. And so Italy, by cruising through to the final where they were to meet the Olympic champions France, had created the best pairing possible. The bronze medal had gone to Germany as the fastest losers. Packed house here in Manchester on the 4th day of the World Track Championships. Earlier they saw Italy, here they are, break the world 4,000 meters team pursuit record. An amazing time of 4 minutes, 0.958 seconds. Now they face France in the final for the gold medal of the World Championship. Capelli, Adler Capelli, Cristiano Citon, Andrea Colinelli, Mauro Trentini, and the French are Cyril Boss, Philippe Hermenot, Jean-Michel Monin, Francis Moreau. The start is given. Now, will we see another world record here as they both rip away from the start and settle down as fast as they can? The French, we expect a slightly quicker start off the blocks. The Italians take that little bit longer to settle in, but once they do settle in, they've shown us already today they are world beaters.
Well, the French have gone through quicker there, 0.3 of a second behind for the Italians, and as always, Andrea Colinelli, the man who's already won the individual title here, takes them round for the first lap. They're looking very organised indeed, and the French will have to do something very special this evening if they want a chance of taking the gold medal, but the Italians have been so far truly magnificent.
Well, the cheers for these two teams. We've seen a sensational round of team pursuing here in Manchester, and now the Italians are heading around to complete their first kilometre next lap, and then we'll get some idea of the schedules these teams are riding. 1 minute 4 seconds was the world champions scheduled in the semi-finals by the Italians. They're coming up to the finish of the opening kilometre now. 1:40.54. They're back on their world schedule and ahead of France.
Well, that's a magnificent opening kilometre there. They really have come out, and I don't think at any time at all during this competition have they been really pushed into doing something special. Magnificently this afternoon, they set a new world record of just outside 4 minutes. This afternoon, maybe they'll think about going inside and really putting the record on the shelf for a couple of years.
One had the feeling the coach was trying to slow them down when they were convincingly going to beat Russia because he didn't want them to waste energy for the final. They refused and went on to the world record, and now they're on the schedule again.
Well, the French haven't given up yet. They're still 0.4 of a second behind, and they pulled something very special out of the bag in Atlanta not more than a month ago when they took the gold medal there. This time they know that the ride this afternoon could bring them a gold medal at the World Championships as well.
Well, if the Italians are staying on the championship schedule for a world record, 2:02 is what they did last time, and look at this, 2:03, 2:47. They've fallen a fraction behind.
Just a little bit, the French keeping in there as well, but now 0.6 of a second behind as we look at the face of Andrea Colinelli, the man who is again doing full laps of the track. Now normally I have to tell you, when you ride and put a team pursuit like this, each rider will just do half a lap at the front before swinging off, but such is the power of that man Colinelli, he is doing full laps.
It is incredible to see both teams are still virtually together on the track in this magnificent team pursuit final. The French falling back a little bit now to 1.139 seconds, but even they are going to record a super fast time.
Well, they've got a great man in their midst, that's Francis Moreau. He's pulled them through every round so far when they've looked like having difficulties, but there, the time at the top, French just 1 second behind the Italian team at the moment. They are in fact starting to come back as they did in the previous rounds.
Coming around for the end of the third kilometre, and the French have lost a man now at the end of the third kilometre. Italy go through 3:02.941. They are a second adrift of the World Championship record earlier.
And the man at the front doing the turn for France is Francis Moreau again, and the Italians still 4 men looking very, very good. They're all together. They're going through there. The French have come back again, Phil. They're inside 1 second down on the Italians.
Which is amazing because they've lost Jean-Michel Mona. And one of the Italians has cracked as well. And the speed has proved too much in this final for the Italians as well, as Italy continue to progress. 1.175 seconds is the difference, and the Italian who has given a best is Cristiano Citon.
Well, still, Andrea Colinelli is the man at the front. He's trying to keep his boys together. They know that the French won their heat in the sprint, and it went down to the very photo finish for them to go through to the final, and it could go down in the decider here as well. Francis Moreau tucked in third position at the front of the Italians. Andrea Colinelli has just done 2 full laps.
And on the line, 4:03. The clock hasn't exactly stopped, but it should have done. France has stopped at 4:04.416, but Italy are the winners. And we'll have to wait for the time. The clock itself got a little bit confused there, but there's no doubt who won the World Championship. It's the Italians in the semi-finals. They set the world record at the incredible mark of 4 minutes, .958. Now they have beaten France in the final. So it had been perfect for Italy. They'd beaten the Olympic champions. They'd broken the world record. Germany had taken the bronze. Adler Capelli, Cristiano Citon, Andrea Colinelli and Mauro Trentini had done something really special. They'd narrowly failed to break the 4-minute barrier in a team pursuit. So it was on to the 500 metres time trial for the women, 2 laps of the 250 metres track. And the first woman to go was Magali Faure of France. This is Magali Faure of France, and she was the fastest qualifier in the women's sprint. She finished up with the bronze medal. Now it's 2 laps of the velodrome for the 500-metre time trial, and I'm just wondering, she's unlucky, Paul, to be first woman to start, but we know she's got plenty of speed.
Well, certainly, she was the fastest qualifier in the 200-metre time trial for the sprint and went on to take the bronze medal. She started there with a huge gear coming up to the end of the first lap. She'll have 1 lap to go, 250 metres. She goes through there in 20.881 seconds.
Well, that's a very fast opening 200 metres. And now it's all to set the time for the rest to beat. 35.888 is the target now for the other competitors. And I think that will be a very tough time indeed, because it's only just over 1.8 seconds off the world record mark of Félicie Ballanger. She will be last to go. Just 3 women left to go in the World 500 metres Time Trial Championship. The first one to start the whole competition remains the leader on the board. Magali Faure of France, 35.888 seconds is top. And this is Annette Newman of Germany, who was 4th in the World Championship 1 year ago in Bogota, Colombia. Now, will we see the first real challenge to that time of Faure's? Again, aiming for the 22nd opening lap if they are to continue on to best time.
Excellent start by Annette Newman, but it's been a very long wait for Magali Faure, sitting down there in the track centre watching everybody else go by, trying to knock her time off the leaderboard. The end of the first lap for Annette Newman, it's going to be very close. That's the first best time now, 19.642.
What an opening. She's the first woman inside the magic 20 seconds today. She's done it in 19.642. Will she survive this final last lap? She comes up to the line. She is the best time, 35.202. She takes a look across at the board and salutes the sky. And Magali Four, who has sat there patiently in the middle, has now seen her time bettered. The German Annette Newman, fourth last year, has the best time on the board, with 2 riders still to come. Michelle Ferris, very much a candidate for a gold medal. She's the former world record holder as a junior, and she is a top rider. She got the bronze medal a year ago, and she will run Annette Newman very close, because she beat her time in Bogota at the World Championships 1995. A little bit of a hesitant start out of the drift machine there, but now she's going to have to try and get what appears to be quite a big gear rolling quickly, and the new mark to beat at the end of the first lap is 19.642 seconds.
Well, she's gone out very quickly. She knows how to do a good time trial. She qualified fastest at the Olympic Games in the 200-meter sprint. She's gone outside the time of Annette Newman, 20.652, but it's the last lap that counts.
Well, this might have let Magali Four into a medal here. If Michelle Ferris continues at this speed, she will fail. But will she accelerate? She looks to be going very quickly now. Hits the line. She's second best time, 35.694. That was a much better second lap than Magali Four, who now looks set to be the unlucky fourth, because we are waiting to come on track the world champion, who has tremendous form, Félicie Ballanger. And here she is, Félicie Ballanger, the defending world champion when the 500 meters time trial was introduced last year. She has already won the World Sprint Championship here, which defended her title. She is the Olympic Sprint Champion. She is the record holder at 500 meters and held this record since 1993, during which time she's updated it 4 times. The record stands at 34.017. The best time here stands at 35.202. The last woman to start, and is she on a golden ride?
Well, she looks rapid straight into the first corner there. She's used a massive gear going into the first lap, and she's up to top speed already. She's sprinted for almost the full first lap. It'll be interesting to see what the time is when she comes round here. The time to beat is going to be around about 19, and she's gone through in 19.662.
There it is, 19.662. She's down on Newman, which is a little bit of a surprise, but this second lap, will she stay the distance better? She comes to the line, she will. She's the gold medalist. She has defended her championship, 34.829. She is only 0.08 of a second away from her world record. But what a dream championship for Félicie Ballanger. She is again, for the second year, the world champion at both the sprint and the time trial, and this in the year she is also the champion of the Olympic Games sprint as well. That's Annette Newman being congratulated for her promotion from 4th a year ago in Colombia to 2nd now, and the 3rd place medal will go, as it did 1 year ago, to Michelle Ferris of Australia. And so, just as she did a year ago in Colombia, Ballanger had successfully defended both her sprint and 500-meter titles. In the men's sprint competition, over 3 laps of the track, we join the action at the semi-final stage. The world champion, Darren Hill, 1 race up in his match against Marty Notstein of the US. Now, will it be Darren Hill or Marty Notstein who will face up to Florian Rousseau in the final of the men's sprint? Hill needs to win this to go sailing on into that final, while the man on the top of the banking there, Marty Notstein, the 1994 world champion when he beat Darren Hill, he's got to win this to survive to a deciding match. He lost the first one quite easily, one has to say. There was a lot of speed in the legs of Darren Hill. He's riding much more sharply here in Manchester than he was on the outdoor velodrome at Stone Mountain in Atlanta during the Olympic Games.
Such a close match between these two riders. They know each other very well, ride a lot of the World Cup races on the same circuit. And Darren Hill most certainly this year wants to get the medal that he had in 1995, because I think he's probably enjoyed wearing that rainbow jersey. He knows just exactly what Marty Notstein's weaknesses are as he keeps him in 2nd position here. He knows Notstein has a little bit of difficulty coming by, and he would like very much to lead the sprint out from 1st place.
I think he's going to do just that as he comes round to the bell, and it's down the home straight with 1 lap to go. He gives it just about everything because he certainly is a quicker ride at the moment. Oh, and almost a clip of wheels there. That's exactly what happened to Babel when Notstein was driving off that banking yesterday. But now it's an easy thing for Darren Hill. He gets it at 2 rides to 0 at 10.878. And I think the shock of almost clipping the back wheel of Hill took all of the fight out of Notstein as he was moving in for what he hoped would be the kill. Well, because of this action here, watch Hill move above the sprinter's red line. The judges later disqualified him for moving over that red line, and it forced the decider, which was won by Notstein. The 1995 world champion was thus relegated to the race for the bronze medal, which would be against the Italian Roberto Chiappa. As we join the action, Hill is 1 up in this best-of-3 match. Darren Hill of Australia, who won last year's world title, is now 1 win away from the bronze medal, this time here in Manchester, which means that Roberto Chiappa of Italy has got to win this to force a decider. He had no answer in the last match against the speed of Darren Hill, but this time it's Hill's turn to lead off, which, unless Chiappa goes by him, he must make the pace for the first lap.
Well, Darren Hill could almost certainly have been sprinting for the gold medal. I felt that he was one of the fastest sprinters in this competition. 1 or 2 mistakes there against Martin Notstein has him now in this match. 1-0 up on Roberto Chiappa in his quest for the bronze medal, and he doesn't want to wait too long as he comes across the line. Quite fast opening lap there for these 2 riders, and Hill waiting for a reaction from Chiappa.
Chiappa coming up to Darren Hill, who still wants to hold him up from the front because he believes that's how he can win, and now he comes to the bell again, the lead exactly as he was in the last match. And on that occasion, Roberto Chiappa had no chance at overhauling Hill down the back straight. I think Chiappa is in big trouble again here now. He is struggling just to get onto the shoulder of Hill, and it's all over. The bronze medal, recognised by Roberto Chiappa of Italy, goes to Darren Hill. He gets the bronze. He wanted the gold, but that will have to do on this occasion for the big Australian from Perth.
Darren Hill will ride for the bronze medal. Coming up to the line here, he kept himself in first position all the way around that final lap. He wasn't going to put anything down to chance. Opening up the throttle as he comes up to the 200-meter mark, looks over his shoulder there and realizes now's the time that I've got to go. There's no tactics involved in this sprint at all. It's a question of sheer speed. Comes into the last corner, a little bit of an attempt by Roberto Chiappa to come up. He gets alongside.
There's the score. Russo 1, Notstein 0. And so the 1994 world champion of the sprint and the current champion won earlier this week in the Kieran, Martin Notstein, has got to win this one against Florian Russo, the man who turned away from the kilometre to concentrate on his first real attempt to win the senior world sprint title. This time Notstein must lead away, and I think, Paul, if he goes fast, he'll play right into Russo's hands. Russo has got pure speed there.
But both of these men also capable of making an extremely long sprint as well. Let's not forget that Russo is the Olympic champion at the 1 kilometre just a short while ago, and they're a little bit of jockeying for position here. Marty knows he's got to pull out all of the stops, all of the tactical moves that he has learned at the top of world sprinting. Russo in first position knows that that is ideal because he has the speed to hold off the American.
Well, Russo is so confident now. He's playing with Martin Notstein here. As he comes to the bell, he's going to give it full ball down the home straight. 1 lap to go. Notstein has got to run at him as we go into that final banking. We're now down the back straight. Martin Notstein is trying to get up on terms with Russo, but look at the speed of the Frenchman. He's just blowing Notstein away. It's all over. France have got themselves a world champion of the sprint again, and this time by the man who only 4 weeks ago was the Olympic champion of the kilometre. Florian Russo has won the world title. And And that world sprint title, the Florian Rousseau, the first for France for 21 years since the great Daniel Mollon, who is now the French trainer. And just look at this, 4 gold medals here at the World Championships of France, the same total they had got in the Atlanta Olympic Games the month previously. Australia finished second, Italy were third. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage of these World Championships. For Paul Sherwen, I'm Phil Liggett saying goodbye.